Dave and I and Bethany kind of collaborated on this a few days ago. And we thought, what could we do to share our experiences with teachers right now, since we've all been forced to stay home, basically. Schools have been closed. I could imagine, as we're all talking, what would it be like if you were a teacher right now or a virtual facilitator at a corporate office somewhere, and you've just been told, hey, don't come back tomorrow. And by the way, everything we're doing is now virtual. And when you're used to being in person, that can be a shock to the system. Now I'm being told to do things completely different than what I'm used to. So that's kind of where this came from. So this is one of hopefully many series or many sessions to come. And basically the gist is becoming a virtual teacher. What's that like and how do you do it? So a little bit about us. So Dave, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so first of all, my name is Dave Schmittou, and I live up here in Michigan. By day, I've got the title of Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and it's a fancy title, and in theory, it means I know a lot about teaching and learning, but I'll be honest, right now, I feel like I know nothing about what's expected for quality teaching and learning. On the side, I do teach online classes, higher ed, but the more I'm reflecting just these last couple of days, I've got a lot to learn. So I am super excited about what we're going to be doing here over the next couple of days and weeks, because my whole role in this is just to be the voice of the masses. I really have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea how to provide direction and support to the staff that is turning to me for support. So I'm super, super excited to have Rich and Bethany here just to answer a lot of my questions, which I'm sure will be a lot of your questions, and guide us through this transition that we're all going through.
Yeah, I can only imagine it's got to be kind of scary just not knowing what to do and how to do it, right? We got all this great technology around us, but it's just so much of it's almost overwhelming. So hopefully we're going to answer some of those questions tonight and set you off on that journey to success. So my wife and I, Rich, I'm Rich Boudry with the Organic Learner. It's our little side hustle, I guess we have. I work for Chick-fil-A. I am on the digital learning team at Chick-fil-A. I was a teacher. I spent 10 years in the classroom. And much of that, it was an elementary classroom. And a lot of that time was spent trying to figure out how to make my experience with my students more relevant to what they were bringing to the classroom. So more virtual, more digital, things like that. And now I'm in corporate learning at one of the best companies, in my opinion, in the world, Chick-fil-A. And we just launched a big virtual classroom initiative. So I hope to be sharing some of those things along the way with you as well. And Bethany, would you like to
Sure.
slide over? This is my partner in crime here, Bethany.
So we're kind of sharing a desk here with our new suddenly remote workspace, but I'm Bethany Boudry. I also taught for 10 years in the state of Michigan. In fact, Dave was my principal back in the day, so that's the connection with Dave. But I have also found myself in corporate learning, not intentionally. I never thought I would leave the classroom, but because we relocated for Rich's job, my journey kind of took me on a meandering journey, and I am in corporate learning at a SaaS company, and I absolutely love it. So excited to share what I've been doing a little bit with teachers through the years, and then in corporate learning with virtual learning as well.
Awesome, thank you so much.
I'm gonna step back over and moderate.
So Bethany's monitoring the chat, and since we can't see the chat, so at least I can't in my view. So Bethany will be kind of fielding those questions and things like that for us, and she'll jump back in a little bit and share some resources that she found. So basically tonight we're gonna do this. We're gonna just, out of this learning series that we're thinking about doing, or we are doing, we're not thinking, we're past that, but as we continue to build it out, the first three things we were wondering about as when becoming a virtual teacher, what do you need to know? What are some of the skills? And one of them is video. How do you take video and make it work? So we're going to talk about that first tonight. And then next session on Sunday, we'll talk about how to facilitate live virtual classroom sessions using some powerful tools, much like the one we're using now, Zoom. So if you're in corporate learning, this is a great tool to engage your people. We have some excellent speakers that will be coming in Sunday to do that, to show us how to do that. And then lastly on our list, and we'll add more going forward, using asynchronous video to cultivate conversation and discussions.
So Rich, here's where I'm going to stop you first. That's a big word. Asynchronous. Asynchronous.
Asynchronous.
What is it? What is asynchronous?
It is a big word. It's a nerd word that I use a lot if I'm in this world that I live in. So asynchronous. So right now we are synchronous. We are learning synchronously.
So we're in sync. You're like my Lance Bass and I'm your Justin Timberlake type of thing.
That's right. We're in sync. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Tough. No, that was
New Kids on the Block. Come on, if you're gonna do boy bands, do them right, Rich.
I know. Yeah, that shows my age, I guess, right? So we are synchronously learning right now. We're learning
Gotcha.
together. That's what we do in the classroom, right? So we're together, we're learning. But then there's also this other notion of asynchronous learning. So learning together, but at different times. And when you're in a virtual world, that is really, really important. Learning how to, because we all learn at different times of the day. We all might be doing different things. It's hard to get everyone's calendars if you're corporate lined up. And it's also hard to get all your students that have, you have no control over the schedule really. They're home, they're waking up later. My son, he's a 14-year-old, he's waking up at 10 to start his assignments. So, getting everything all aligned doesn't necessarily align with your teacher's schedule, your facilitator's schedule. So asynchronous learning allows you to, gives you a platform to have a conversation that happens around the clock rather than all together like we are now.
That's good. So in essence, we're going to be learning how to make and use videos that you can either share with your students or your people live in the moment like this, or that you can somehow share, create, and people can view and watch and engage on their own time.
Yeah, and we're kind of doing that. We're kind of doing that tonight. We're experiencing a synchronous video, but we're kind of recording. We're going to learn how to record videos quickly using what you have on hand to do that with, and then uploading them. So it's kind of asynchronous. But this last session is really interesting because it talks about how to build a conversation around a static video. And tonight we're just making static videos, but we're going to talk about how to bring those static videos to life later on. So it'll be a pretty interesting session. So tonight, like I said, we're going to talk about how to use video, how to just use what you have around you to create powerful videos that you'll be able to engage your students with. So kind of to kick this discussion off, and Dave and I are going to kind of just talk back and forth, and hopefully he'll be able to speak kind of for what some of y'all might be thinking. He is not a practitioner in this space as far as—
I'm going to pause you real quick. 80% of the audience just understood what you said because you said y'all. For those of you up here in Michigan, y'all is like the rest of us, all of us. So y'all, you all. You've been away too long, Rich.
One of the phrases I've adopted from the South. It's one of the best words there from the South that besides Chick-fil-A, y'all is like the best thing out of the South.
Gotcha.
So it's just a great word. So here are some discussion questions that I'd like to kind of kick off this discussion about. And these questions are meant for you all to engage as well on the side. So Bethany is here. She's reading the questions. Dave, you might be able to see them better than I can, the view I'm showing. If you have some questions or if you want to add to the discussion, go ahead and add them on the side in the discussion box. So just kind of some things to ponder, Dave. First of all, how did we get here? That's part of this, not just the coronavirus thing, but video. Why has video gotten to be so important? And, kind of what are some of the benefits is what I think about when I think about using video for learning. Yeah.
So first out, for those people that this might be your first experience using Zoom or a webinar like this, again, use the Facebook chat thing, or if you just scroll at the bottom, there's a little button that just says chat. That's where you click and type away. So add your questions. I'll chime in here. Some of the reasons I think this is so important right now. Relevance is key. We talk about in America, we have so many obstacles at times to finding success, but the people that truly find success are those people that take obstacles and turn them into opportunities. And I truly see this as one of those opportunities for us to start making learning relevant again for our kids. It's an opportunity for us to meet our students, and students could be adults, they could be 5-year-olds, but meet them where they are, whether it's Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube. I mean, that's where our people are. Mm-hmm. We also talk about relationships being so key and the need to have FaceTime. So I am super, super, super excited about just being able to take learning to that next level.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you mentioned some too. Meeting our students where they're at, our learners where they're at, adult or students. meeting them where they're at. And we're going to talk a little bit about that too in a few minutes. So, one of the big questions driving this discussion is how can we leverage video to enhance the learning experience? And, that's so relevant today because that's really the only way we have to connect with our students in this moment that we're living in, this coronavirus world that we're now adapting to. So we'll talk to that too. But, one of the questions, Dave, I have, you talked about how relevant and how important video is and has becoming. What's holding you back from using video? And this is to the whole audience as well, all the participants.
Oh, wow. Where do I begin?
What's holding you all back from using video? We know it's important. There's a lot of research. And I'll show you some things in a minute. We live in a video-driven world. What's holding you back?
I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that holds me back is simply fear. It's one of those, as a teacher, as an educator, I feel like I'm supposed to be the expert. And when I go with video or using really any technology, I feel like I'm jumping into the sharks. I'm going into their waters. It's where my kids live, and they're going to be able to see my flaws, and they're going to be able to see my imperfections more so than if I could type out the directions and send home a worksheet or something like that. So simply not knowing all the tools and all the features and how to make things cool and catchy terrifies me. I'm also afraid of saying the wrong things and having it captured for the world to see, and who knows where it's going to go, and just not knowing how to edit and make my face look better, my words sound better. I'm so scared of the unknown.
Yeah. In that, I think brings up a really good point. A lot of it is fear of the unknown that drives us from keeping us from doing it. For me, it was, I'm not a videographer. I don't know how to use cameras and all these different things and these different tools. I have the technical ability to do these things. That scared me from doing it.
And I'll tell you, Cynthia, she chimed in she said, her students' lack of access makes her hesitant. And I could imagine that means like the actual hardware and devices, and probably also access to Wi-Fi, and how can she use this and make it equitable. And I think that's one of the topics we're going to be discussing as we go, is how to create as many different platforms and mediums as possible to reach as many different kids in as many different ways as possible. So
yeah. I think that's true. That's, access is important, especially when we're in the classroom. Before our students didn't have access, so that limited us from needing to learn how to use video because they couldn't get to it. Now we're here in this place where somehow, some way they got to get to it. And those are problems we're still facing. And hopefully we're going to find solutions too quickly for those folks, those students that don't have access to it like they should.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into the next thing. So, there are a lot of stats out there. I could sit and convince you, Dave, and everybody else here why video is so important, but I think you all get it. I mean, these are some general stats from YouTube. We do live in a video world. We are driven by video, and this current crisis is going to even drive that even further than where we currently are today. So, let's take a look just even at marketing. When I was doing a little bit of research for this, I thought, what is video versus text? As educators, and I think most of us, we're just so used to just typing things up and moving on, because a lot of us are, come from, maybe we have a college background, maybe we don't, but we're used to typing up papers. We're used to doing lesson plans. We're used to doing design documents, facilitator guides, all these things. So we're doing all kinds of typing, when in reality, when we go home, we turn on video, and, not to say we don't read. Reading is still important, but the data shows, and even when you look at marketing experts here, here's some stats I pulled from a website that talked about why marketing using video is such an important part of your marketing plan strategy. So another reason, Dave, why we're using video, so yeah, we're a video world, but it's about the relationships, right, Dave? I mean, think about your students, your learners, and the relationships.
It's so true. I mean, one of the things I do on my side hustle is I have a little podcast that I share, and I can't tell you how many people I walk up to at conferences who shake my hand, give me a hug as though they know me. They say, it's because you're in my ears all the time. You're in my head. And I've never met this person before, never actually had a real conversation with this person, but just because I'm in their ears, they feel like we have this connection. And I know it's true with video as well. And, the thing that keeps going through my head is that first video that was ever played on MTV, 40 years ago, video killed the radio star.
Yeah, yeah.
Video killed the old packets that we used to send home to our kids. That's my hope, is that we can have these videos that we are able to start sharing with kids, that we can truly start to connect with them in their world. Nothing solidifies a relationship like coming into somebody else's world and saying, I'm with you. And if this is where our students are, let's come into their world and enhance those relationships.
And, you know, the past few days, as Chick-fil-A has adjusted to this new virtual work remote place, you know, because Chick-fil-A, those of you maybe are from Chick-fil-A or know Chick-fil-A, you know, it's very relational. The culture there is very relational. I mean, yes, we could all be working remote, but the environment is one where, you know, we like face-to-face. We like the face-to-face meetings and the conversations. It's one of the most relational places I've ever worked at. Yeah. And over the past few days, all of a sudden that's been stripped away from us. And I will say for my team and the teams that I've been working with to kind of solve some of these problems now as we move to a completely virtual training organization, it's the video. The video has kept us connected. And we've used Zoom and other ways, other types of video to keep that connection going. So it's all about the relationship in this world that we now live in and connecting with our people, Dave, through our technology.
Well, and I'll just talk about the platform we're using now. I mean, you could have just sent these slides to us and said, read them, and we would have been fine. You know, I'm looking at a comment that Todd wrote on here. He said, sparking interest in keeping learners engaged is a challenge he's anxious about. And a true story. So this morning, my 4-year-old, he's in preschool, got a video from his teacher. And the title was Songs from Class. And I thought, oh, Lord, she's sending me lyrics to the song that he's singing in class. And I'm going to have to sit here and sing preschool songs with my kid. And I can't carry a tune. But no, it was a video of her in her classroom doing all these crazy dances and jumps. And my son was just belly laughing because he thought it was so amazing. He got to see his teacher being goofy, being funny. It wasn't just the song, it was her. That connection, that relationship he has with her was on display in real time. It was so awesome. Yeah.
So that's there's that element of seeing that is believing that is still true today.
Yeah.
You know, that is so important. So yeah, I'm not taking away from text reading. That's so important to our students' growth and development, you know, even as adults to stay sharp. But today, the world we're living in, we also need video to build those relationships and make those connections, those human connections. Yeah. So why video now? And here's a great article, a blog post that Bethany found. And this says a lot of it right here. Dear students, we didn't even get to say goodbye. Right. So video enables that connection again.
And I'll hammer this home. I mean, I've heard so many people say, why are we putting so much attention on things right now? This is just like summer vacation. It's just like spring break a little bit early. This is what it's all about right here. Because spring break, summer vacation, we can anticipate, we can set our kids up for success. We can give them that last hug. Right now, it truly is all about relationships. Right now, our kids had no idea that this could have been the last time they were ever in our classrooms, in our schools. We had no idea. This is going to be the opportunity for us to embrace our kids, even if it's in a virtual world, to say, hey, I still got you. I'm still here. Let me look you in the eyes. Let me talk to you, have a conversation with you, cry with you, laugh with you a little bit more. So this is what it's all about for me.
Yeah. And, you know, in the corporate space, this here is that same thing, the coaching, the mentoring that we were doing at Chick-fil-A with our up and coming leaders and employees. You know, video allows us to still do that. You know, as our leaders share their thoughts and ideas and how are we solving this problem, they're doing it all through video. Yeah, we're getting text, but the video shows our leaders' emotions. So if you're a leader on here, an administrator, principal, a corporate leader, you know, recording video shows a side of you that does not come out in text. So let's go ahead, Dave, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and dive into the how to. So we spent talking about why. Now let's go into the how to and how to do that with really limited budgets.
Okay, this is the part that scares me. I've got to be honest. Like the why gets me all fuzzy and I get excited, but now we're going into uncharted territory. I get nervous.
Right, because this is a little bit scary. This is the unknown piece, right? So, you know, let me just preface this before I start. There are a bazillion how-to videos out there, how to do what we're talking you through right now that are much more in-depth and more comprehensive than what we're talking about tonight. This is kind of just a primer. And if you will, it's kind of a story about how I spent the last year and a half building a video curriculum. on just a shoestring budget and no expertise, no skill when it comes to video. I'm not a photographer. I didn't go to school to, there's so much, Dave, in that world that I don't understand. So I'm going to kind of share with you my process and what I did to create a video curriculum and what you all can do too right now today. Like, my hope is when you're done with this, you can leave this and for tomorrow, start throwing video into your curriculum.
All right.
So, there's basically, I think, 3 phases of video that I have. So there's the capturing the video, the recording of it. Then there's the audio, and then there's capturing it, there's editing it, and then there's sharing it. So we're going to kind of go through those 3 phases tonight. And first of all, let's talk about capturing the video quickly. It's so simple. Don't let the hardware scare you. Don't let people, your past experiences thinking I need this big camera to do this. I need to go buy a $300-400 camera. You don't have to do that. I got news for you. I'm with these devices now. This, our iPhones and our simple webcams. You can make the sweetest videos ever. So all of my curriculum, I created the video curriculum for the Organic Learner was just using this camera. And I used the native camera app. I didn't download some $50 app to record video. Now, there are some neat apps if you want to. You can download that they have a teleprompter. So you can type up something and put it in here and read it. It'll scroll.
Ooh, that's sweet. Okay.
It's pretty slick. Like it even...
So I don't have to be standing here like this, just reading my notebook as I'm filming.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You can do a little teleprompter in here. And so if you're worried about sounding kind of weird and funny, stuttering over your words, type up a little intro.
That's awesome.
Or your science notes. If you're a science teacher or whatever, record them. You can do that all on your phone or your webcam. As much as your students probably hate you as a teacher or you're annoyed by you.
Hold on. Are we still just talking to me or are we talking you?
I guess the whole
Okay,
group,
okay.
yeah. I know it's me from my classroom days. As much as they probably detested seeing me from time to time, they still want to see you teach.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is the best tool or your webcam on your computer. And here's a little trick too. Click to this next slide. We're gonna do a little show and tell as we go through this. What about, how do you position yourself as you capture your video? You can use your webcam. A lot of people use their webcam, but they keep it down on their desk and it looks a little like this when you're talking to the camera. Most people don't like that. It's kind of awkward. So something as simple as just stacking your computer on a stack of books is a simple solution. Or if you want to spend $24, I have that tripod, but that's not the one I have in the house right now. These little tripods, you order them for as low as $24. And to step it up a notch, they make these little adapters you can buy for $5-6, $10 on Amazon, have it delivered to you without even leaving the house. And just insert your phone here, you set in your tripod, and now if you're like a lot of facilitators and teachers, you need to move your hands, right? You get animated. Go ahead, Dave. You got a question?
One of the people just asked again. Can you repeat the name of that app that you talked about for taking pictures?
For taking pictures, it's called Teleprompter Pro is the one I use.
And what was the one you used for video? For video, is it? They're asking, was it called Native?
Nope, it's the native app that I have.
There you go.
So I just literally go to the camera app. I open it up, and I just hit record.
There you go.
And then how I get it to the computer. We'll talk about this. This kind of segues into editing in a few minutes. But to get it to my computer, I just email it to myself. That's one way I do it. Or I just plug the cord in and get it. But the easiest way to do it is just to log into iTunes if you have an Apple device, and then grab it from there. If you have an Android device, just stick it in Google Cloud, Google Drive.
Very cool. And while you're talking, I'm just going to share one of my secrets. I was going to turn my whole camera around, but I'm not going to. Literally, my computer, people that have seen me on Facebook before, I'm always in the same spot. This is actually a wall in my bedroom. And my computer is sitting on an ironing board. And I've got this crazy little thing that I got off of Amazon for $12.99, little light attached, and I clip my phone right in there. That's it. That's my setup. Now, am I Brent Rivera? Am I any of those guys with like the 15 million followers? No, but you know what? I bet you I could capture an audience of 30, 12-year-olds. So that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And in the corporate space too, if you're a facilitator in the corporate space, and people want, they don't care. It doesn't have to be a overproduced production. Gone are the studios and the green screens. We can't get to them anymore. Now it's just your office. And there's a lot of grace being given to all of us now in these spaces because of the situation we're in, doing our civic duties, staying home.
Very cool.
So yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. It really doesn't. Another part of capturing video. So yeah, you got these cool cameras, you got things elevated a little bit, so you got a good view, but it's the lighting is important. So one of the simplest things to do, you don't have to go out and buy all these LED lights and different things. Though you can, they're pretty cheap on Amazon. I just use my window. So what you don't see right now for me is I have a window in front of me, and it just lets in the natural light.
Right.
And throughout my work day, as I work, matter of fact, today one of the people commented that, why does your lighting look so good? And I said, I have a window in front of me. And it's just
Rich, it is your natural glow. Who are you kidding? When you got the angelic halo that follows you around, it's a whole lot easier. Some of us have to go out and spend $12.99 to buy our halo. It doesn't.
Some do, right? Me, it's just natural. Yeah, my Bethany here, my wife will tell you, there's no halo.
And Cynthia, I'm going to answer your question real quick. Question about uploading to iTunes. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that because that is a question that I know a lot of us have: is how do you actually take your videos and upload them somewhere? So, Rich, I'm going to make sure that we get back and answer that question before we're done that Cynthia asked. So keep going though.
Yeah, Cynthia, please keep us honest that too. We'll walk you through that. So there's the way you position your camera. There's using the camera, but then there's the lighting, which we just talked about. Keep it natural. Go outside. Going outside is a great place to record some video. Sit on your back deck where you get some good natural light. If you have a deck, if not, go outside and walk and record some video. Again, your students, it doesn't have to be perfect for them. They just want to connect with you. Being a parent and with 2 kids in the house, middle school or high school, they don't want to connect with us after a few days. They are really wanting to see their teacher, believe it or not. So then there's this next piece, Dave, I want to share with everybody, and it's audio. Audio can be important, especially if you go outside where there's a lot of wind and things blowing around.
Do tell.
He's got his cool fancy mic. And right now,
$8.99 Amazon purchase is all it was. So.
I've got a fancy mic as well, but it's not hooked up. You're hearing audio. Maybe it's not the best audio. This is just through my webcam today. So you're just hearing webcam, just basic, generic webcam audio. But the other piece is the headphones. You could just use your generic Apple, iTunes, or Android headphones that came with your phone. I mean, every pair of headphones now has a microphone. So, leverage that. That is, we have those available right at our fingertips now. I mean, mine aren't right here because I wasn't wearing them today. But, I mean, we have multiple ones around the house even. When it comes to doing live facilitated video, those headphones become even more important. We'll talk about that more later on Sunday. I used for a lot of my videos, even if you want a little lapel mic, $16.99. Now this looks like a mess, but it works great. $16.99 on Amazon. Gets you this little lapel mic that plugs into your iPhone. I've got one of those little iPhone adapters since iPhone changed the plug around. You just take this little adapter that comes with, you can order these online too for a few bucks. And you just plug this into your phone, and now you have a nice microphone that plugs right into your cell phone, and that's really that's it. That's how you're copying, you're recording great audio, amazing high def 4K video. Most of these phones now do, and that's it. That's all there is to capturing the video. I mean, think of it this way, David. Most of us out there capture video all the time. Go to your video on your phone, your photos. You'll see there's all kinds of, we're all expert photographers today. You think about it, really, we're all expert photographers and videographers because we're doing it all the time. Go through your phone later on tonight and just look at the things you've recorded with the phone you have. Remember the days when we used to look back, or we used to have a separate device that recorded photos and movies? and we only had, what was it, 24 exposures on that roll of film. You know, we were real careful about what we took our pictures with, and those days are gone. Apple has allowed us all to be professionals.
But that's also one of my fears. Is back then you had to be careful about what you filmed, and nowadays I'm so fearful that I'm going to just film myself making a fool of myself. I can't. Because I take so much of it, I'm just going to have the camera there. I'm hoping that throughout the course of this webinar, you'll teach me how to like edit things a little bit so that everything on my camera roll doesn't go out to all my kids and totally embarrasses me.
That's perfect segue to the next.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Perfect segue, because yeah, you're right. One of the things I would start doing is I would start recording film and be like, erase it, re-record.
Right.
Film it, I stuttered, or I didn't say what I wanted to say. Stop it, hit erase it, start over. And what should have taken me 10 minutes is now taking me an hour to 2 hours because I'm trying to be perfect. But Dave, if you throw in a little bit of video editing, you can record and not worry about it, because you can pull out those little imperfections if you want to. Again, you don't have to. Your students want you to be real. Your learners want you to be real, and they'll give you some grace. But let's say you do start something, you're like, that was not, as I said it and heard it out loud, that's not where the lesson should have been going. I need to start over. In a lot of cases, you can just keep going forward. If y'all don't mind for just a second, this is a little bit of the heavier, the deeper stuff that can seem scary. And I don't want you to be scared by this concept or thought around editing video, because it's really not scary. If you set aside about an hour's worth of time, you can produce something pretty cool that looks like you paid thousands of dollars to have it done. And go ahead.
I'm going to pause you right there, because in my head, I just took this huge leap, and I appreciate the fact that you gave me that time constraint there. You said an hour, and I know that's just this rough estimate, but in my head, I'm freaking out thinking, oh my gosh. So I record a lecture that I've done, or maybe I'm doing some sort of experiment, or I'm just doing a song and dance like my preschooler's teacher did. And then I want to go edit this. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to take tons of time that I don't have to sit down and edit and manipulate this film. I just want to be able to capture something and pump it out. But I'm thinking, when I'm in a classroom full time, they're 7.5 hours a day. I'm doing the whole rinse and repeat thing over and over and over again. I'm teaching a class, and then I have to pause at the bell, and I teach a class and I pause at the bell. I can now dramatically shrink that amount of time by just focusing an hour on making this amazing, energetic, engaging video that I can then share with everybody. I mean, is that basically what you just said? And I just heard it through my sifting ears of make this easy for me?
Yeah. So when you think about, I got to, spending an hour in Camtasia to learn it, or YouTube to play around with it a little bit, you got to kind of think about where we're at now. If we're like last week or week before last, before the coronavirus stuff kind of hit, we did have that rinse and repeat. We had full schedules where it was really hard to say, hey, I really need to take time and go do this and learn how these new technologies, learn how to do these different things. Now we're this place where, yes, you're going to find, if you learn a few of these little tips and tricks, take the time to do it, you're never going to want to go back to the classroom live class. I mean, you will, but you're going to want to do it differently, because now what this enables, I can teach one time, one lesson, and record it, do a little bit of tweaking to it, post it somewhere, and I get a lot of time back to care for my people better. I can now care for my students in a better way. So yeah, that makes things much easier.
And I'm sure you're going to get in the weeds in a second, but I'm just thinking through some application right now. So here in Michigan, we still don't have a lot of direction about what's happening in April. I know that's probably the case in a lot of states right now. I want to say we're playing with house money, if you will. And I know that that's horrible, but this is our time to really go out and play around a little bit before we have that expectation of here's what it all has to look like. Here's the box you have to live in. Right now, in a lot of places, it's all optional learning activities. This is your time to go out there and really play and be optional, if you will, with the stuff that you're creating, and share it with your students and say, hey, I'm trying to learn something new. Give me your feedback. Or I'm thinking about myself as an administrator, sharing out some of these videos I'm going to try to make with my principals and saying, walk me through this. Let's learn this together, and really playing around. It's kind of fun. Yeah, absolutely. This is a really taking advantage of the opportunity. Truett Cathy says in one of his books, is that he's the founder of Chick-fil-A. He said, you need to be prepared of unexpected opportunities.
And this is a time where you can get prepared for the unexpected opportunities that lie ahead of us. So right on, this is one of those moments. So I'm going to share go into the weeds a little bit with y'all. Again, this is not meant to be I'm going to walk you through the whole video editing process. My goal here right now is to share a few things with you and take away some of that fear so that you can go out and find these different tools. So the tool of choice for me is Camtasia. Camtasia is a great tool. They're out of Okemos, Michigan, and they produce a bunch of different options for you to go in and capture video and record video and make your video engaging. But one of the big tools is called Camtasia Studio. Now, this is a little the pricier of the three I have listed above. There are other free video editing tools out there. YouTube is nice because you can go in there and do a few clips and then share it. Then iMovie on your iPhone, you can use iMovie to do the same thing. But Camtasia, the reason why I bring up something that's a little pricier, and it's like $150-ish, $199-ish. Now, if you're a public educator, before you were like, I don't have that budget.
That's where I was going.
Just so you know, they do have, there's free trials, free trial versions, 30-day versions, trial versions. But a lot of these companies right now are offering their services, their products for free to educators. So now is the time when you were afraid before to go ask your administrator for a budget to spend $199 on a tool like this. Now is the best time to start searching out those tools. And Bethany's going to share with us in a few minutes some of those tools that she's.
I'm just thinking through film for an hour, edit for an hour. I can make a lot of videos in 30 days.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then use rinse and repeat. And we'll talk about how you make those videos that you maybe record this year and can use them again next year.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll talk about how to make them, more engaging and do some neat things. But let me take away some of your fear when it comes to video recording or editing. All of the tools that I've shared with video editing, all of them have some basic similar features, just like driving a car. Every car has a steering wheel and a gas pedal and a brake and things like that.
You mean it's like riding a bike?
It's like
come up with the better analogy, Rich.
Bike. That's perfect. There you go, Dave. Yeah, Dave is an author, by the way. I don't think he brought that up. He is an author, and because we're trying to keep this, we don't want people to go out and buy our books. This is all
totally joking and go.
He is an author of a great book. So look him up. Yeah. So recording video editing is editing videos like layers. So when you take your recorded video and you insert it into a tool like Camtasia, think of it like a cake. When you build a cake, a layered cake, you have your bottom layer of cake, and then you build on top of it. Maybe put some frosting in there, and then you put another piece of cake on top, and then another layer of frosting, and maybe that's how how video works. When you edit video, it's the same thing. You got your bottom, in this case, that's a track. In this case, this example I'm showing you, it's audio, and then the track 2 above it is the video. Now, obviously, we don't see the audio; it's just merged in with the video. But on top of that, where you see a shape, there's a little shape that I put on top of the visual video. So, and then above that, I put text on top of the shape. So every one of these are just layers. And Camtasia does a really good job showing you what those layers are. And the other two parts of a video tool are what you see here. So I just talked about layers. This is Camtasia. I'll show you in a minute a cleaned up version of this, but this is a timeline. All these video editing tools will have a timeline where you put your layers and build on top of it. And then you have your preview area. Now, some tools call this a stage. You could think of it as a stage, like an auditorium. If you're practicing or play practice, that's where you see what you're doing. In this case, the video. You can see what you're doing on the timeline shows up here in the preview area. And then the third big component of these video editing tools is an ability, in this case, the share button up here, to produce, which means, render, like put it all together, right? So you take all your ingredients and you produce the final version, which is called an MP4. Okay, so remember we had MP3s, we had MP3 players, 20 years ago, and now we have, those were audio files. MP4s are the standard video files. So Camtasia and all the other tools will produce an MP4. And then once you have that MP4 file, just like a document file, you can then share it wherever. So that's what those are the three basic components to editing. I'll push Camtasia again. Again, I have no affiliation with them other than it's a great tool. It's simple to use. Within an hour or two, you can be well into it. They produce some great tutorials that can really get you producing a video quickly. Now you can make this as advanced as you want, as many layers to that cake and as many different frills and cakey things on top of it to make it look pretty. Or in a lot of my videos, 90% of my videos, I just stick them in here. I upload them. I put a little, I create a little intro video, and an outro, or I add some music to it, or I snipped out what I don't want and produce it, and that's it. So I don't put a lot of thrills and frills in a lot of my videos. They just are what they are. I just cut out the pieces I don't want and merge them together.
Cool.
That help? I mean, I know that's...
Yeah, so I'm thinking through like the lens of a classroom teacher, I could get super creative with this and just with my intros and outros. So the intro is just like an introduction. I could like have my own little class logo or some cheesy picture of all of us, whatever. Then just have the basic lecture or conversation I'm having, and then some cool outro, which would cool other graphic or a big question or something like that. And that could be as simple as it is, but to our students, they'd be like, whoa, look at Schmitto, he's doing something.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm afraid, if we had more time, I would go out and show you some of these things, and we can email them out later. But there's a great tool called Videos, which I shared with you earlier this week. And Videos is one of those tools where you can make those really cool intros. They do it for you. You just got to go and pick your color, pick your text, and pick your picture. And they will smash it all together for you, produce an MP4 that you download, and you can stick it right in here. And that could be your fourth grade class intro. You know, Mrs. Smith's intro or Mr. Boudry's intro or whatever. So yeah, and that could last you all year long. So yeah, lots of really cool things to do. And I wish I had more time to really start diving through all of these things here, but we don't. This is a whole nother course in itself, in an hour-long session. But please go and try it. If you do try it, share it with us. Let us know. Show us what you made. I want to see it.
Yeah.
So another thing to remember when you're editing videos, and this is the last thing about editing videos, is to make sure you progress over perfection all the time. And as teachers, we can really get locked into this. And I guess that's all I can say about that.
So it's going to get messy, and that's okay. Just get better.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're so used to making these really sweet little worksheets and different things, and everything is cool in our room. Or if you're in corporate, it's got to be a gold standard. It's got to be.
Yeah. Well, none of your students are expecting you to be Spielberg or J.J. Abrams. Just be you, and make some mistakes. It's all good.
Especially today. Today is a perfect time to do it because there's so much grace being given to people to try to figure out in light of the situation that we're in right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So once you produce your MP4, then you plug it into all your different platforms. And here they are. Here's Canva, which some of you classroom teachers are used to, Google Classroom as well. But then there's the other places where your students are at. This whole notion of meeting your students where they are. And that's one of the things I used to say when I was in the classroom. I want to meet my students where they're at. And they might be on Instagram. It'd be really cool, Mr. Schmitto, if you produced a cool little video that you could share out to your high schoolers.
Right.
They're there on Instagram. Hey guys, don't forget, or hey, to do your assignment, or check what I'm doing today to keep myself sane throughout this whole thing. There are different things.
You're telling me 16-year-olds are not going to be watching my Facebook Live?
I'm not sure about 16-year-olds. That's so old school.
Okay.
Come on. That's where my parents are at, my grandparents.
So it might be a great way to capture the parents, but we need to reach our students where they are. Got it.
And if you're a corporate facilitator, LinkedIn as well needs to be on here. LinkedIn and Facebook.
Yeah.
Obviously not sharing corporate secrets and proprietary things, but
unless you want to tell me how Chick-fil-A makes their biscuits so yummy.
I wish I knew. So I got a few stories around that, but they are pretty incredible. So I'm going to step aside here. We got about 10 minutes more here to go. And I want to really end this with Bethany sharing some free resources that she found that can help get everybody kind of down this path to start producing things tomorrow. Bethany?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Bethany here. So stepping in, I am wondering or betting actually that a lot of you have seen this same thing floating in your Facebook feed or Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever, because we've all landed in this suddenly remote piece. So this giant Google Doc has over 800 companies that are offering free subscriptions right now. And the owner of this document has actually put it on their own website. We are going to include that link for you after this. But with over 800 resources, first of all, that's an amazing resource for you as a parent or a teacher that you can use to help supplement your children's education. But where do you start with all of that? And since we've been talking about video tonight, I just wanted to highlight a few things on here with video. So the first one is BombBomb. And this is something that I absolutely love because I've used it in a role facilitating teacher ambassadors with different companies. It allows me to have that relational equity piece via email. So I can send an email that's a video email really quick. There's a Chrome plugin, so I can do it either right from my desktop, or I can use the app and do it via an app. So that is a great way to get a quick win video. Teachers, if you're using Remind, that BombBomb video also has a link that you can send out via Remind. So great things there with BombBomb. It is free right now in response to the coronavirus. So love those free resources that we can check out.
Bethany, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody asked a question here, and I think it kind of fits with the BombBomb thing. So, Rich was showing us how to actually take the videos and convert them into MP4s. I'm assuming once that you have that MP4, you can upload it to any of these apps like BombBomb. Because the question that was asked was, when using the video apps, do the viewers of the video have to use the same app to watch, or can it upload to any source? So I'm thinking this is a question about like equity, and if you share it, can you use that same MP4 and upload it to BombBomb and to Facebook and to YouTube, or can you blast everybody so everybody has the same access? I think that's the question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So with BombBomb, it's actually the URL that you would share.
Got it.
It doesn't come out directly as an MP4. I'm sure you could get fancy and figure out how to do that. But I love it for a quick win just to share it with email. But also you can take that link and put it in your Edmodo, your LMS, whatever it is that you're using.
Because you're recording it in the app.
So you make the video, and wherever it is, whether it's on Google Drive or YouTube or wherever it is, you can share that link and it goes to everybody. Is that got
Correct.
it? Cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Whoever you send it to. Yes. Great question. Thank you. All right, so this next thing is a free app on your iPhone. Love free. That's one of my favorite words as a teacher. And I love this because it's super simple to use, but you can see all the great stickers that it's got, the emojis. You have to include those in your classroom and communication with students whenever you can, especially at the elementary level. So this app is a great way to do that. Super simple, easy, and free. I recommend you get it. And then the last one that's one of my favorites for the classroom, both with younger kids and even in higher ed adult learning, working with teachers, I've used Flipgrid. Great way, especially in today's suddenly remote times, to get a little bit of relational equity with some face-to-face video responses that you can do there.
Very cool.
Those are my favorite three that I wanted to share. Of course, that list of 800 has a lot of great resources and it's continuing to grow. So if there's anything you need off of that list, feel free to take a quick gander through it. And with that, I'm going to turn things back over to Dave and Rich.
Well, you're welcome to stay right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can soon slide over. I just want to make sure we're both in the frame. So Dave, that's it. We threw a lot out at you, and all of you that are viewing, we kind of went through a lot quickly. And remember, again, this is meant to be just kind of a primer to get you kind of in and get you over the fear. And hopefully we've introduced to you some good tools that you can start using tonight and start researching.
Well, I feel like right now you've introduced me to the playground and said, go get dirty. I mean, you can walk me to the park, and Lord knows we've been quarantined long enough we haven't been able to play in the park. So I feel like you're leaving me in kind of this uncomfortable, but yet extremely inviting place where I don't really know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm super excited to dive in and try some stuff. So if
it's
that was
funny.
the goal, well done.
It's funny that you say that, because when I was building this slide deck out, this slide here, that one I had next, go play. And so, and it's really true. That analogy of the playground and going and playing is really important. If you don't go out and start playing with the tool, download the free 30-day trials. Hopefully that's all we're going to be in this point. I don't know, but hopefully we are. At least use the free 30-day trials, and hey, to get around it, use another email to get another free 30-day trial. And that's what us public educators do. so I mean, you didn't hear that from me, but you did. But no, a lot of these.
If that doesn't prove that you have no affiliation with those companies, nothing does.
Yeah, right. So what I like about these companies, though, is they really are trying to support the educators that are out there trying to make this happen. And they really are. I'm sure these other companies are they're going to get on board with this list up here that Bethany has made, and we'll share with you all these resources where they're offering just free tools to teachers to use. And unfortunately, as corporate folks, we're going to have to pay for it, which is okay. But for the public educators, the private educators, the homeschoolers, these are great resources for everybody to tap into.
Very good. Very cool.
So, Dave, we want to do this again.
Yeah. I want to do this a lot, to be honest with you. And I'm glad you put up here the date of Sunday, because today it's Wednesday as we're recording this. So, there's part of me that says, oh, can we just do another one of these tomorrow? But I don't want to. I want to be able to play around a little bit. And you've kind of taken I'm going to use the analogy. You've taken the training wheels off my bike, but I'm going to fall down a lot. And I want to be able to run back to daddy in a couple of days and say, look at my skinned knees, but look at what I've learned. And I'm hoping that on Sunday, you can kind of take this to the next level a little bit, and help me fix a lot of the things that I break. That's really my goal, is to go in and break a whole lot of stuff and to make a lot of mistakes and come back running to you saying, help me now.
So we'll start off next week with a little bit of that, or
Okay.
maybe we'll end next week's session with a little bit of that.
Okay.
But one of the things we're going to do next week is I got a hold of, I think I alluded to this earlier, two really excellent facilitators at Chick-fil-A are going to join us. They're former teachers as well, and they're going to share with you how they do virtual facilitation. And I got to tell you, I think it's going to blow your mind. I watched them present today. It blew my mind how well they kept me engaged as a learner. I mean, that's their goal as teachers, as educators, as trainers, right? To keep our audience engaged.
Yeah.
Hard to do virtually. We didn't do a good job of it tonight. They're going to come in Sunday and they're going to blow our minds away. We're all going to be taking notes. So it's really neat to watch. So we're going to do that Sunday. So come back Sunday, and then the following later on the week, we're going to talk about this whole notion around asynchronous and stuff. But we do want to see what you guys are producing. So please share some of the things you're testing with, and share
That's
them.
awesome.
Twitter, email us, whatever. Share it with us.
And I see Todd on here had a question about, can we forward questions to possibly cover in future sessions. So I'd say, yeah, reach out to any of us. I'll make sure that on all my social media, you guys are tagged, and you can throw your questions right there so that the whole world can see them, or you can private message us, either way. And we'll make sure that stuff gets covered.
Yeah, please use us. If you have any other questions that you want us to present on, we'll do that. Becoming a virtual teacher it's not an overnight thing. It takes time. And there's a lot of tricks and tips that we have developed and learned from others that we would love to pour into everybody. And we're going to pull in our experts that we know to help facilitate these. So it's not going to be us. Next week, you're going to see somebody different. And the week after that, you're going to see somebody, so you'll see different people sharing their tips and tricks on becoming a virtual facilitator or teacher.
Oh, it's so good. And yeah, feel free, reach out to me at any time. I mean, I'm clueless in this whole thing, but I don't want to be the only clueless one. So if you've got questions and I can at least couch my questions with somebody else wants to know this, let me know what you want to know, just to kind of cover myself a little bit. Yeah, reach out to me at any time and we'll walk through this together. I love it.
All right, guys, it's 8:59. we have about 1 minute. If anybody has questions, I'll stop sharing here. And literally just, we can hang out as long as you want. People can start dropping off if you want to, but we have such a small group here. I will see if I can open up everyone's mic if they want to. I'm not sure how I can do that because I'm not seeing the participants.
It is a mystery for sure. We're all learning together as this suddenly remote takes off.
But there's going to be a lot of progress as we strive towards perfection. So
yes.
It's interesting. Any of my colleagues are on here. We just spent the last couple of weeks training on Zoom. So I will say to all of them, the difference tonight is we're streaming through Facebook. So it's not giving me the option to turn on participants. So to be able to talk. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out for next time. But anyway, if you have any questions, please let us know. So you all just have a great week. And we'll connect with you all next week.
awesome.
All right, guys. Good night. See you later. Thank you for joining.